My name is Tim Schwalk. I'm the design director on Sword Coast Legends at InSpace. So everyone's ready to go? Let's go ahead and hit start game. So the text you're seeing here, I actually put in when I created the dungeon. You can name anything, whatever you want. You've got title, you've got flavor text, and that, of course, will show up on the loading screen. And once you get in here, the controls are very straightforward. To move the camera around, you're going to click the middle mouse button and just move the camera. That'll let you move around. You can also use WASD if you prefer, if you're more of a keyboard player. Holding the right mouse button and moving will let you rotate the camera. Exactly. And, of course, you can zoom in and out with the middle mouse. You can zoom out really quickly as a DM, and we give you a complete bird's eye view. Sometimes you might roll an enormous dungeon and want to get around very quickly. And then if you just want to jump around, you can double-click on an object in the scene, and it'll zoom you in. Exactly. So if you come over to this, if you come over to the first room there, I want to show what the D20 does. If you see that floating D20 there, that governs the encounter you see in that space. So you can see some pewters there showing what encounter is selected there. If you right-click on the D20, you'll see a menu where you can choose what encounter is in this room. It gets randomly populated when you roll the dungeon. Yeah, exactly. You can choose what encounter you want. You can choose the difficulty in the encounter, or you can turn that off completely. Once they get to this room, that D20 is going to go away, and that encounter is going to be locked in place, and they're going to spawn. And then we'll have a few more options. Yep, so they're over there learning. Let me show you up here in the corner. You see DM threat. This is the currency you have to do things to challenge the players. If you look on the far left, you see the menu of what you have to place. See drow and spiders and traps. If you go ahead and click on one of those categories, exactly, you can see the cost of each of those and threat. So Demoid Spiderling costs 12 threat. You earn threat a couple of different ways. You get a little bit over time, but the primary way you're going to earn threat is by having the party succeed. So whenever they're killing monsters, unlocking doors, disarming traps, the idea is that the better they're doing, the more tools you have to challenge them. You have to be careful, though, because if you happen to kill one of them, you'll lose a chunk of threat, and if you wipe the party, you're going to lose all your threats. It's a bit of a balancing act. Like I mentioned, we like to say it's a 4 with 1 rather than a 4 versus 1. It's kind of cheesy, but that's exactly what Dungeons & Dragons is. It's a shared storytelling experience. So once enemies spawn, you can govern combat. You can manage combat much like you would in RTS. You can left-click on an enemy, and then you can left-click on the ground where you want them to go, or left-click on a player that you want to attack. You can even drag select all the enemies and tell them all to attack the wizard if you were so inclined. Exactly. If you right-click on a specific enemy, you can see some options just for that enemy. Right-click on him. Come back here, drow. So you can see over there you've got, holy moly. All right, well, you have a few options to help the party when they're struggling. If you right-click on an enemy, you have an option to remove them. So if you want to straight up remove an enemy, you can. Or if you just want to demote them, that'll take 4 off of each of their stats and give them disadvantage on roll. And you can sort of control the ebb and flow of combat and difficulty that way, too. So besides just right-clicking on enemies, you can also right-click on other things in the scene to get their contextual menus over to the side. You can change doorways. You can add secret doors. You can lock and trap doors. Once a door's been opened, you can't interact with it. But if you go to a door they haven't gotten to yet... Oh, this tent is actually something I added along with the flavor text. If you right-click to go back to the main menu on the left, just sort of right-click away from everything, there's an Objects tab. If you click on that Objects button, you'll see a whole bunch of different categories there that give you access to a ton of props you can decorate the dungeon with. So if you could place these out there, yeah, exactly. You can place it with left-click, or if you hold left and right-click, you can rotate it when you place it. You can use those just as decoration, or if you want to, go ahead and right-click on one of those. You can give it a display name, and what that is, that's the name of what they're going to see when they hover their cursor over it. And then if you put action text, that's the text they're going to see if they walk up to examine it. And of course, you can add a trap to anything that you've placed. These objects are a great way to add little story moments throughout the dungeon. If you want to, you can even make them discoverable. You can make so that they couldn't examine and get the text on those items until they pass a perception check. You could even go as far as to hide an item before they wouldn't even see the item until they pass the perception check. So let me show you another way to really customize the experience. Hit the escape key real quick and go up to characters at the very top and click on new character, and we're going to make a custom monster. This is the same menu you would go through if you're going to create an NPC or a vendor or a new adventure to fight with them, but click on monsters. So what you see here is a list of the undead. You can click on anyone that you want, or you can actually go through these lists over here and find a different monster to start from. I'd recommend starting from someone that's not too crazy powerful because it's going to affect the threat cost, and then we're going to edit him from there. So, a zombie or a ghoul or a goblin or a mercenary. Sure, shield mercenary. So click on appearance at the top, and you have a ton of different ways you can customize them. If you want to do something more quickly, there's a randomize button at the bottom. And you just hit that a few times. Our art director hates that button, but you can at least get to a point where you can start customizing someone. On stats, you'll see a level offset there. You can use that to say, I want this guy to be 2 levels higher than the average party level or 3 levels below the average party level, just to give him a relative difficulty. On abilities, he's got four abilities already. You can go through the list at the bottom and assign him up to 10 abilities of anything that you want. Just click on it. We had someone in the last session make a wolf that summoned wolves. I didn't see anything quite like that before, so that was pretty awesome. Equipment, you can go through there. You can, give him that sweet musician's hat. You have got quite, I don't know what to call this guy. But if you go over to the summary, that's fantastic. You can give him a name. I'm not sure what you name this one. Bongo the Great, and you can give him a title if you want. That's totally optional. Super King, and hit complete. Yeah, you can choose a lot of different story context there. Go ahead and hit close or hit escape to go back to the game. And he will be in the characters button over on the side. Oh, you're on the Dragoloff right now? Right click out of that. So if you just right click out of the, there you go, click on characters. At the very bottom, you've got Bongo the Great. He's only 12 threat, so you can certainly give them some challenge with this guy. Yeah, this is a fancy-looking fellow. And this, of course, just shows the power of what you can do in real time while they're playing. We have an entire offline campaign editing mode where you can do all of this stuff ahead of time. We give you access to the entire, not the entire Sword Coast, the entire map of Faerun, where you can go through and add dungeons just like this one. You can add surface areas if you want a forest, a city, a swamp, whatever it is you want to create. You can create your own custom NPCs, much like you did with the monster. You can assign custom quests with dialogue, and the idea is that we hope people really take these tools and make their own adventure and then share them online for others to play. Yes, you found my favorite, these spider eggs. Spider eggs are fantastic because they only cost 5 threat, and if they don't destroy them immediately, they spawn spiders. So the giant beam of light you see, that's something called DM loot. If you click on the dead body beneath that, you found Summon Drow Honor Guard. So click on that to take it, and it's added to your bar at the bottom. We gave you a little bit more DM loot just to show you an example of how it works. We didn't think it was fair that just players got loot through random drops, so yeah, there you go. This is quite a DM drop. DM loot does not require threat, so if you don't have threat but you have DM loot, you can still you can still challenge the party. They're having quite a good time with these additions. Another thing that we've added is if you right-click, go back to that default menu, the bottom tab, lighting and atmosphere, you can change the default lighting in here, change the fog and the lighting. Like if you click on, say, Burning Crimson, it's a very obvious one. We're still tuning these. Sometimes I like to change the lighting as they enter, say, a boss room or a different encounter. Our hope is that they'll use voice over IP. DMs will to help tell these stories and to role play some of these scenarios. We allow for dice rolls in the chat, so you could actually just role play an entire room if you wanted to. The DM will have a sort of a quest switchboard where they can give and complete quests just like that if you want to. So you could completely role play quests in the game. They're doing pretty well, and you've got a lot of threat. I think they're wanting some more challenge. So you found the... So you saw there's a possess option on enemies as well. Possession will let you take direct control over their abilities, much as if you were playing through the player experience as a monster. Now they're really, I'd say they're doing well. Oh, we dropped one through. That's awesome. If you right-click on that door, you have some more options for doorways. You can see you can lock or trap. You have an array of traps that you can add. And once you add one, you can change how difficult it is to spot and to disable that trap. And you can fine tune that, of course, to whatever it is you're looking for. You guys are doing really well. I don't understand all the. Yeah, you're doing great. Working very well together as a team. You do have ultimate control as a DM, so I'm not suggesting you do this, but you'll notice the Ranger has a companion. If you wanted to, you could right-click on the companion or on the summon spider there, and you could turn them hostile, just to flex your DM muscle. If you click where it says friendly, you can change the hostility of a creature. But you don't have to use all your powers for evil. In fact, if you pop on the other side of that door over to your right, I think we've got a creature. Like, you could right-click on one of these creatures and go over to where it says hostile and make them neutral. If you make them friendly, the drow's going to attack them. Now, go down to where it says vendor. We're going to make a vendor spider. You can add vendor type. You can choose weapon, armor, or potions. And just like that, you have a potion vending spider. You can also give them weapons and armor if you'd like to. And all neutral creatures, the DM can drive around. So if you wanted to run that spider up there, you could. Or you can leave them wherever you want. And like I showed, you can do that with an enemy. You can do that with anything you want. If you want to, you can spend a lot of time in that custom creature menu and just create as many NPCs, monsters, whatever it is whatever story you're trying to tell. We're trying to give you the tools to do that. So they found the secret treasure room. Those treasure chests, like any object in the game, you can lock and trap. Oh, they're already. So you're seeing a statue of Lolthar along with some spider webs. That's some decoration I put in here before. I put some descriptive text on the statue. So just an example, this was an empty room back here that I put those torches, the statue, the spider webs. I added all of that. You're seeing that you can select all those individual items. They can't do that. The only thing that they'll be able to mouse over and select is anything that you've customized. If you give it a name or if you give it some text. Change the alignment on. Oh, there we go. Oh, you guys are good. So these red boxes you see over here are traps. I don't think we've really added any traps yet. We have an entire array of traps that you can add, everything from web traps that'll trap them right there to arrow traps where arrows fire out of the walls and kill them. Oh, we're low on thread. Was somebody die? It's okay, we'll get them back. So for purposes of this demo, everyone is at level 6. The characters you're seeing them play as were all made with our character creation tool. When you start the game, you'll be able to make your own character, and that character you can take into our 30 to 50 plus hour story campaign where you can play solo or you can play up to 4 players cooperatively. Then you can take that same character into our DM modes, and you can bounce back and forth if you want. You can have different characters do that if you'd like. But we look at it almost like you're taking your character sheet from one tabletop game to another if you wanted to visit and play with someone else. But you can see their characters look very, very different from each other. And I think that's just an example of how powerful our character creation tool is. You can really make something unique and cool, and everyone's going to be able to make something that speaks to them. We haven't talked as much about the story campaign because the DM modes, we're really excited about the DM hook, but we do have a full story campaign. It's completely VO'd Critical Path. There's a ton of content. We're excited to get people looking at that. Our narrative director, Jay Turner, has crafted a story that I think people are going to get really into. We're not going to give out any spoilers, but just know that there is a deep full story campaign in there on top of all these cool DM modes. So they're getting close. This hallway is going to lead into our final boss chamber. You can see in the top right corner, when I created this dungeon, I added a single quest encounter to this to defeat the Demon Web Terror. We have what we call templated quests, where if you want to create something very quickly, you can make a collect quest or a kill quest. You can fill out some parameters, and away you go. We also have custom quests, where you can customly determine what adds the quest, what completes the quest. You can add multiple quest updates and sort of decide on your own when this is complete. Did our happy vending spider get turned hostile? Well, that could be part of his story as well. We've got this vendor. I guess they didn't treat him well, and he turned against them. If you want him to vend, he'll have to go back to being neutral. They won't be able to interact with him in that manner while he's hostile. But you know what? I've played in DM campaigns where vendors turn on you. You can't trust everyone, right? This is Forgotten Realms. Our story campaign does all take place along the Sword Coast. We feature the city of Luskan, which a game really hasn't featured like we are. It'll take you as far as the Underdark, but that's all I'm going to say, or Jay will throw something at me. Bongo the Great. He's going to lure them into this trap we've set. I love Bongo. He's very regal. He's a super king. And of course, you could make Bongo friendly and fight alongside them if you were so inclined. And the spider has spawned. So if you wanted to see possession, the spider's a great example. If you right-click on the spider's ring and you go over to possess creature, you'll notice at the very bottom of the bar you have access to every single one of the spider's abilities. You can tell the spider who to attack. You can click the abilities. If you choose an ability that requires input, you'll see that you can sometimes aim some of the AoE abilities. There are some cone abilities as well. You can aim the cone of effect. And it's interesting. Some DMs prefer to sort of play as the creatures to run around and control the combat exactly like that. Others prefer to stay on the periphery and just enhance the battle from the sides, while others prefer just to watch it sort of play out on its own. That bluish effect you see on the spiders, because you possessed it, it also gives it a buff, makes it a little bit stronger. The players see that as well. Oh, I didn't mention, whenever you're moving your cursor, the players actually see a white wisp on their screen wherever your cursor is. So that's why they were kind of getting a little excitable and paranoid, rightly so, whenever they would see it come near them. That's an option the DM can disable, and we also have different wisp choices so you can customize that a little bit. So one thing to be careful of in this room is we do have a per room threat limit. It's pretty high though, so you may not see it, but we found some DMs were trying to put all of their threat into a single room in a dungeon, which isn't exactly promoting the spirit of the game at the time. But I think you've given them a good challenge. And more DM loot. Summon an ogre, nice. Sure you do. Very good. And of course, if you see them failing or struggling, a friendly ogre could probably take care of that spider pretty easily. They're really doing well, though. I think this is a testament to the DM and his kind-hearted storytelling. Like these friendly spider has a buff. Oh, that's the vendor spider. The vendor spider is friendly and fighting. That's amazing. So one diabolical thing I like to do whenever they're all in combat, they sort of forget to search around, so I like to place a few traps, perhaps by the exit. You are a little bit low on threat right now. But the big blue ring you would see around the players while they were walking around the dungeon, that was them doing an active search and looking for secrets, looking for traps. Oh, and now they have defeated the Demon Web Terror. Nicely done, everyone. If you were so inclined, you could add treasure chests to reward them. You could also trap those chests to keep them paranoid. Goblin Shaman Pack.
That baby spider is like, I'm the hero.
But very impressive.
He was actually goblin.
Run away! And then the goblins appeared. So our intention from the beginning was just to make a fun experience for a real-time DM. We wanted to make sure it was accessible enough for anyone just to jump in and be able to sort of influence a dungeon and have fun with their friends. Anyone who wants to jump in and make a dungeon in just a minute can do that very easily and spin up a dungeon that could take you anywhere from 20 minutes like we have here to, many, many hours, many multiple level dungeon. Or they can spend time in campaign mode and craft an entire story that they share that spans across both dungeons and surface areas. So we think we've got something that people can do on the fly, or they can spend a lot of time and craft something special. I'm really excited to see what happens when we get it out there. First thing I'm going to do is start joining people's games and just see how they're DMing. We do have a DM rating system, so once the dungeon crawl completes, or when someone leaves the game, they have a chance to rate the DM. They can rate you for fun, challenge, and story. And then whenever you're searching for a game, you can sort by rating and sort of find the DM that matches up the playstyle that you're looking for. You can also rate, oh, here you go, room threat limit reached. You've done it. You can also rate campaigns. So when you're looking for a new campaign to play through, to check out, you can sort by those ratings as well. I see them making a mad dash. And they're searching because they're paranoid. I don't think they trust you. And there it is. Yeah, very nice job. Both the adventuring party and the DM seem to have a good balanced experience, and that's exactly what it's all about, everybody having a good time.